If you're watching this video, then you want to know how to scan and organize all kinds of things in your life, like paperwork, receipts, photos, business cards, and other kinds of documents. Stay tuned and I'll show you everything that you need for a total scanning system and my best practices for scanning, naming, organizing, and storing scanned items. At the end, I'll tell you how you can download my template for keeping all of your records together so that you can get the most out of scanning and organizing your documents. Keep watching. Here's the roadmap of everything that we'll be covering in this video. First, we'll look at the kinds of things that you'll need to scan and organize your items. Then we'll start by covering standard paperwork. Then we'll look at receipts, and next we'll look at photos and albums. Finally, we'll look at business cards and other things that may not fit in a conventional scanner. If at any time you want to ask a question that's specific to you and your situation, please comment below and I'll try my best to respond promptly. To prepare for making this video, I let my paperwork build up for a while so that I can show you how we're going to go from this, a mess of over 400 pages of paperwork, 200 receipts, 1,200 photos, and 600 business cards, to this, a clean and organized box which contains everything that we've scanned, a simple folder system on my computer containing all of my scanned documents, and an easy-to-use template which provides a record of all of my documents. The two most important pieces of equipment that you'll need are a scanner and a computer with enough storage space to hold your scanned documents. You'll also need to know how to install and use software on your computer which interfaces with your scanner and assists with organizing documents. Because there are so many computer and scanner models available, I'll leave it to you to decide what kind of equipment is best for you. However, if you want recommendations, please see my YouTube channel for different product reviews. At current, some of the best scanners on the market include ones from Fujitsu, Epson, Kodak, Canon, Brother, Raven, and Doxy. With respect to your computer, how much storage space you'll need will depend on how big your scan jobs are and how often you're scanning. If you find that you don't have enough space, you can always purchase an external storage drive like this one. This is the Western Digital MyBook, which was named by PC Magazine as this year's best external hard drive. Because it's important to have a dependable backup, it's worth it to get an external drive like this, which is made by a reputable company. In addition to using a computer and a scanner, I'll also be recommending that you use a smartphone with a stand like this one for some scan jobs. As we'll be seeing, not everything can be scanned using a scanner, and we'll need a camera to scan certain kinds of thick and oversized items that can't be scanned either using a document feed scanner or a flatbed scanner. Finally, to store your original documents after scanning, I recommend that you use banker boxes and document holders like these. As I'll be discussing for each type of scan job, it's also very important that you store your documents securely, and I'll be showing you my best practices for doing this. Paperwork is one of the most common things that we all want to scan and organize. It generally comes as single or double-sided pages which are letter or legal size. If you'll be scanning disorganized paperwork like I have here, first sort it chronologically with the newest documents on the top and then into separate piles for each year. The process and principles that I'll be showing you work for all kinds of documents and applications, including scanning paperwork for small and medium-sized business, education, administrative, legal, accounting, engineering, and any other purpose. To demonstrate my paperwork scanning system, I'll use incoming mail as our example. Although online statements and documents are now widely available, we all still receive a lot of paper mail through the traditional postal system. To keep your mail scanned and organized, I recommend that whenever you receive a piece of mail, that you open it, remove any staples or paper clips, and immediately scan it as a PDF. For example, if you receive a statement from your bank, put it in your document scanner and scan it using your scanning software. In general, PDF is the best format for scanning paperwork. It offers the best options in terms of file size, quality, versatility, and other features. If your scanner and software support OCR technology, which means optical character recognition, enable this setting so that the words and numbers in the document will be recognized and saved. If your scanner offers a double-sided scan option, enable this so that both sides of your documents will be scanned at once. When naming a document, give it a simple descriptive name using a year, month, day convention based on its date. In the case of this statement that I received in the mail, it's from ABC Bank and it's dated October 31st, 2021. So I'll name it 2021-10-31 ABC Bank Statement.pdf. Once the file is created and named, I'll put it in a folder called ABC Bank Statements. At the beginning of each year, when you start adding new scanned documents, archive last year's documents by making a new subfolder, naming it with the number of the previous year, and then move all of the documents from that year into that subfolder. By scanning the contents of your documents using OCR technology, naming your documents using my recommended conventions, and keeping your documents in an organized folder system, it'll be a snap to search and find documents and their contents in the future. For example, if I remember in the future that I transferred $1,000 to my friend Steve Rogers, but I can't remember when I did it and I want to know, I can search for the keyword Rogers to find this document without needing to look through every statement. Once I find the document, I search again for a keyword to go directly to the place in the statement which shows that I made the transfer on October 4th. Thanks to my organized system and having all of my documents scanned using OCR, the information is at my fingertips. Once you've scanned a document, store it in a banker's box like this one. Each year, I make a new box like this, and then I tape a sheet protector to the top and front. I then insert a piece of paper with the name of the year on it, either printed or written in marker. By doing it this way, the label stays on the box and it's big and easy to change. It's also easy to read so that I can always identify and find the box as long as I can see the top or the front. When it comes to storing documents in the box, the easiest way is to simply put each one in sequentially after you scan it. As time goes on, the documents in the box will simply be stacked on one another. Because you're scanning your documents and digitally organizing them on your computer, you don't need to spend time organizing your physical documents as well. Finally, whatever you do, be sure that your documents are secure. This goes for your physical documents and your electronic documents. Once your physical documents are in banker boxes, keep them in a locked room or closet. It's also a best practice to store documents on shelves, not on the floor, in case it was ever flooded. If you have certain original documents that are particularly important, consider keeping them in a fireproof vault or in a safety deposit box at the bank. You also need to be sure that your digital documents are secure on your computer. Keep backups of your documents in case something ever happens to your computer or storage device. You may wish to use cloud computing to keep online backups, but only if you've done your own research and are comfortable doing so. For certain sensitive documents, you may wish to password protect them to further enhance their security. Because cybersecurity is a huge subject which goes beyond the scope of this video, I'll say only that you need to understand the basics and use appropriate software and practices to keep your computer and digital documents secure. You also need to know the basics of cybersecurity threats and how to keep yourself safe from them. If you want to learn more about cybersecurity, please see my review videos on different cybersecurity books and my walkthrough video in which I show you how to use a password manager and why you need one. With respect to how long you keep your documents, this is ultimately a decision that you need to make for yourself. However, if you have any doubt, 7 years is generally considered to be a reasonable period of time to keep original documents. With digital documents, you may wish to keep them longer or even forever. As computer technology continues to advance, storing digital documents is becoming even easier. Receipts come in a variety of shapes, lengths, and sizes. They can be any combination of short, narrow, long, and wide. And although many receipts are now made available by email and text message, we still need to manage and store paper receipts. As with scanning paperwork, I recommend that you scan and file your receipts on an ongoing basis. However, if you'll be scanning a mass of disorganized receipts like I have here, first sort them chronologically with the newest ones on the top and then into piles based on the year. Because many receipts are printed using thermal ink, they can be volatile, easily damaged, and become unreadable after a short period of time. This is an example of a receipt from Home Depot that I have from last year. After a while, the ink faded and now it's unreadable. By scanning your receipts as you receive them, you can avoid this problem and ensure that you always have legible digital copies. To keep your receipts scanned and organized, remove any staples and scan each one as a PDF. The PDF format is the best for scanning receipts, and if your scanner and software support OCR technology, enable it so that the words and numbers in the receipts will be recognized and saved. For home office and small business purposes, some desktop scanners can recognize information in the receipts and automatically name and file them using that information. For example, when I use my scanner to scan this receipt from Starbucks, dated February 2nd, 2019 for $4.15, it automatically gives it a name, including the date, amount, and vendor name, and it stores it in my Scanned Documents folder in a subfolder called Receipts. If your scanner doesn't automatically name your receipts, name them using a year, month, day convention based on the receipt's date, vendor name, and total amount. This is all the information that you'll need to organize and find future receipts. For this Best Buy receipt for $112.38, dated January 12, 2020, I'll name it 2020-01-12, $112.38, bestbuy.pdf. Once they're scanned, keep all of your receipts in a folder called Receipts, and then in subfolders by year. On January 1st of each new year, archive last year's receipts by making a new folder, naming it with the number of the previous year, and then move the receipts from that year into that subfolder. By taking this approach, it's easy to search for and find receipts. If, for example, I want to see all of my Starbucks receipts, I can search for Starbucks in my Receipts folder. After you scan a receipt, keep it in a document envelope like this. Keep a piece of paper in the envelope with the year written on it in large numbers. As with paperwork, you can simply put the receipts in the envelope without organizing them. Because your digital copies will be named, organized, and easy to find, there's no need to invest time and effort in organizing your original receipts. After you scan your receipts and store them in your document envelope, put them in a banker's box with your scanned paperwork from the same year. All of the rules about keeping your paperwork secure also apply to receipts. You should keep them secure from theft, flood, fire, natural disaster, and other kinds of loss. Your electronic copies also need to be secure. You need to back them up and keep them safe from computer equipment failure, viruses, malware, and other threats. Just as you may wish to keep your paperwork for at least 7 years, this is also a good number to use if you're unsure of how long you should keep your receipts. Because they're generally small files and take up little space, I recommend keeping your digital copies forever. Photos come in various shapes and sizes and can be in portrait or landscape orientation. And although most people now take pictures on smartphones or digital cameras, there's still a lot of physical photos out there that we want to scan and organize. Unlike paperwork and receipts, which I recommend scanning on an ongoing basis over time, photos are often scanned in batches, either single rolls or entire albums. Before undertaking a large scan job like scanning multiple photo albums, be sure to set the file format and resolution that you'll be using to scan your photos. Use the JPEG file format for the best results and scan at the highest quality possible for your scanner. If you ever want to reduce the file size of a scanned photo in the future, you can do it without losing quality and resolution if you start with a high quality scan. However, if you scan your photos at too low of a resolution to start with, you can't then make them bigger later without losing image quality. Before you start scanning, double check to ensure that you have enough storage space on your computer. For example, the maximum color image scan that this scanner produces is about 3500 by 2300 pixels in resolution and 1.6 megabytes in size. To give you an idea of how much space you would need, if you were using this scanner to scan 65 pictures, you'd need about 100 megabytes of space. If you were scanning 650 photos, you'd need about 1 gigabyte of space. And if you were scanning 6,000 photos, you'd need about 10 gigabytes of space. If you were using a different kind of scanner, your files may be even larger. So before you start a scanning project, do some quick calculations to ensure that you know how much space you'll need and that you have enough. If you want to scan an entire album like this, take the photos out one by one, starting with the last one, and put them in a small box like this to keep them neatly stacked so that they won't fall over. By removing photos by starting at the back, your pile will have your first photo on the top. When you scan your photos, take a small stack off the top and lay it face down on the scanner. The first one will be scanned first, and as you work through, the final photo will be scanned last. As you scan, pause every so often to double check that your photos are being scanned in the correct order, that they're being scanned in color, and that the scans are of a high quality. Using an auto-feed desktop scanner like this one, I can load 50 pictures at a time, and it only takes about a second to scan each one, front and back. The process of taking the photos out of the album, organizing them, and then putting them back in takes more time than the actual scanning and naming process. And while it's possible to use a flatbed scanner to scan photos, for large job it simply takes too much time, and I strongly recommend using an auto-feed desktop scanner. Unlike naming paperwork and receipt files, naming photo files is somewhat less straightforward. Fortunately, there are a few things that we can do to overcome this problem. First, if possible, set your scanner to scan the front and back of any photo. In the case of this photo, my scanner detected that there was writing on the back, so it scanned the back of this photo and saved this note. If you generally know when and where photos were taken, this may help you when it comes time for naming and organizing. Second, name your photo files by number and by using a few words to describe the collection. In the case of this album, it contains 50 pages containing 300 family photos. I would therefore set my scanner software to name the files Family Photos and include a unique number after each photo. My files will be named familyphotos1.jpg, familyphotos2.jpg, and so on. If I wanted to share this photo, number 11, it will have a unique name and be easy to find and share. Third, if you're comfortable uploading your images to an online service like Google Photos, they include features which are designed to help with organizing and sharing your photos. There are also features to help you rotate your photos and detect the faces of the people in the images. Using this feature, if you wanted to find only photos with a particular person in it, you can simply search for that person's name and those photos will come up. If you don't want to use Google Photos, I suggest that you keep some simple notes about who's in the photos and when and where they were taken. Once you've scanned a photo album, stick a label on the inside cover, including the date that you scanned the album and the name of the digital folder where you saved the digital files. Most business cards are a standard 2 by 3.5 inches. But they can vary greatly in terms of how thick they are, and in some cases, they may even come in unusual shapes and sizes. No matter what kind of business cards you have, the goal of scanning them is to have an organized and easy to recall system. When you want to see a business card in the future, you may only remember a few things about the person or the card. Because of this less than perfect recollection, you need to have a good system in place so that you can find your business cards. As with paperwork and receipts, I recommend scanning business cards on an ongoing basis as you receive them, so that you have a powerful, up-to-date system and clutter-free surroundings. If you attend a party or a networking event, you may get many business cards all at once. Otherwise, you'll likely collect business cards here and there over time. As with paperwork and receipts, the best way to scan a business card is to use a document feed scanner using the PDF format. If your scanner or software supports OCR technology, use it to recognize the text and numbers in the card. By being able to search the text inside of the files, this will help when you're looking for cards in the future. When it comes to naming cards, the most important part is the name of the person and the name of the person's company or organization. However, if you can also remember when you got the card, include this in the name of the file. For example, if you know that you received this card in March in 2021, but you don't know the exact date, name it 2021-03-00 Ron Miller Edward Jones.pdf. If you have this card and all you know is that you got it in the year 2018, name it 2018-00-00 Eli Brown Cushman Wakefield.pdf. Depending on the scanner that you use, it may come with an auto-naming function which will automatically detect the person's name and include it in the file name. When it comes time to organize your digital files, keep them in a folder called Business Cards and use subfolders to further organize them by year. When each new year rolls around, make a new subfolder for the past year and then move the cards from that year into the subfolder. The goal of scanning business cards is to be able to recall them quickly and accurately by searching for keywords. If you're looking for a card but you can't find it by searching, you may need to resort to looking through your cards one by one. If you need to do this, enable a preview panel like this so that you can easily cycle through the cards quickly by pressing the up and down arrows on your keyboard. When it comes to storing your physical business cards, put them in the same document envelope where you put your receipts. In addition to scanning business cards, you may also want to scan folding cards like these, which you may have received for birthdays and special occasions. Many of these cards are flat and can be scanned and named using the same process for business cards. However, some cards like these can't be put through a scanner because they're not flat, or they may be covered in glitter or other kinds of loose objects. To scan these kinds of cards, I recommend using a smartphone and a camera stand like this. This is also the process that I recommend for scanning posters and three-dimensional objects. If you can place your items against a plain wall, this is often the easiest way to take a photo of it. For example, this piggy bank is clearly something that I can't scan using a paper feed or flatbed scanner. If I take a picture of it against a clean background and then later crop the image, this is basically the same thing as scanning it. So there you have it. Those are my recommended best practices for scanning and organizing paperwork, documents, receipts, photos, business cards, and other items. If you learned something new from this video, then make sure to subscribe to my channel right now. Just click the subscribe button below this video. And now I'd like to turn it over to you. Have I inspired you to start scanning and organizing your documents as soon as you receive them, or take on the task of scanning an entire photo album? Let me know by leaving a comment below right now. Finally, to download my template for keeping all of your records together in one place, please visit my website, www.seandillman.com. And if you'd like to learn other helpful things from me, please check out my videos on my 7 techniques for reading faster and my 5 rules for how to hire a lawyer and get great results. If you end up purchasing something as a result of watching this video, please be sure to use one of my Amazon links in the video description below. To support my channel on an ongoing basis, please consider changing your Amazon bookmark to one with my affiliate code so that I'll get a small commission whenever you buy anything on Amazon. Please keep in mind that this doesn't cost you anything, and the more support I get, the more I can help people by making new and better content. Thanks again for watching. As always, I'm Sean Dillman.